Hey guys, so in this video I want to talk about why I believe that INFJs and ISFJs are the best types when it comes to self-expression. And I have a very specific definition of self-expression here. So what self-expression is the ability to convey one's own authentic inner emotional state very well. And then when I observe these two types, they are very fluid in their personal expression of their emotional states. Um, Compared to all the other types. And the reason for this is that they have auxiliary extrovert feeling. So the auxiliary function is a function that people wield very well. So it's a function that's wielded. And INFJs and ISFJs use it as a tool for self-expression. They also have um, a very strong introvert feeling. And introvert feeling is a function that's not typically associated with these two types. But the reason why they're not called introvert feeling types is that introvert feeling is not in their function stack. So what that means is that it is not a valued function. So roughly speaking, it's not a function that they, and this is only a very rough way to look at it. This is the very black and white way to look at it. It's not a function that they hold in positive regard. But the reason why they're good at it is that extrovert feeling is a very expressive function. So it's liberal in a way it showcases its emotions. But it's an auxiliary function. So compared to an ENFJ and ESFJ, um, the extra feeling of INFJ and ISFJ is wielded. So it seems like they're using it as a tool. They use it with a certain kind of grace. It's not like very powerful all over the place like ENFJs and ESFJs. The other reason is, okay, I'm going to compare these two types with other feeling types. So if you look at ENFJs and ESFJs, they're very expressive because extra feeling is their dominant function. However, their introvert feeling is stifled. It's opposed. So they tend to not be in touch with who they are. They are not really in touch with their inner emotional state. So they're very expressive, but they don't really know who they are. When you look at INFPs and ISFPs, for example, they have introvert feeling as a dominant function. So their introvert feeling is very strong, just like an INFJ and ISFJ. However, their extrovert feeling is stifled. So you can see that INFPs and ISFPs have a very strong inner emotional awareness, but they have a hard time being able to express it. So it's a struggle that these two types um, endure. But INFJs and ISFJs have a relatively fluid transition from introvert feeling to extrovert feeling, because introvert feeling is very strong, and extrovert feeling is a strong function, which a strong wielded function, and introvert feeling is by nature very strong. So that is the reason why. This is also leads to their tendency to be very good at the arts. So a lot of INFJs and ISFJs have are very artistic. They have like artistic hobbies or professions, and there's a compared to other types, there is more of an ease to express their inner emotional state. And the reason why is that introvert feelings demonstrative function. So they have a good understanding of their inner states, but they don't take it as seriously as INFPs and ISFPs do, because INFPs and ISFPs take it seriously. Um, they are always, when they're trying to express their emotions, it's very difficult because they want to get it like just right, because they're very serious about it, and as a result they never get to really express it because they can never find a medium for expression. Whereas INFJs and ISFJs, they don't take it as seriously, so they can easily transition that inner emotional state to extrovert feeling, which is liberal. It's kind of all extrovert functions are kind of liberal, so it's willing to just let the emotions go out there and let people show it to people, and that's expressed in the arts. If you look at like you know, I know the whole presentation of INFJs and ISFJs is kind of aesthetic. What I mean by that is that what okay, someone's playing the accordion out there, so you're gonna have really nice background music. Anyway, talking about self-expression, I kind of think that INFJs and ISFJs, when you look at them, they kind of remind me of Marc Chagall paintings. In fact, Marc Chagall looks like his own paintings. So, these paintings are kind of fluffy. They're kind of fluffy. I'm not very good at expressing how they look like, but yeah, and he looks like that himself. His hair is curly like this, and he has that smile like this. And then INFJs and ISFJs, they look like that. Um, it's because of their extrovert feeling being auxiliary. They're able to use it in a way that makes them appear very artistic in their whole entire presentation. There's a they're extrovert thinking polar. So you could kind of look at that means extrovert thinking polar. So what extrovert thinking polar means is that it's their you get very in a very rough way, it's their weakest, most unvalued function. So you kind of look at extrovert thinking as kind of very boxy kind of movements, like a military march, left, right, left, left, right, left. It's all about efficiency. INFJs and ISFJs, their movements are very fluid. It lacks this box-like kind of uh, thing. So the other thing is like when you talk to them, it kind of feels like you're going through a time warp, because extrovert thinking is about efficiency, but these two types are not about efficiency. So it's kind of nice. It's like time, because there's no efficiency. Time ceases to exist when you're in their presence. It's this very aesthetic, artistic feeling. I don't know how to describe it because my extrovert feeling sucks. Or my extrovert feeling is opposed, so it's hard for me to really let it out. But anyway, um, yeah. When you look at INFPs and ISFPs, they're regarded as artists, but you know whether someone's artistic or not really depends on more individual factors. But on average, INFJs and ISFJs are the artists. Like when you look at the eyes of ISFJs, it's like they have the eyes of a connoisseur. Like they have these really relaxing, tranquil looking eyes, and then they're kind of they're very tranquil, and it's like I am a connoisseur of life kind of eyes. So that whereas when you look at INFPs and ISFPs, we have extrovert thinking as an inferior function. So even though it is very weak, it's valued. So there is a very slight box-like quality to us, where there's this hidden sternness to INFPs and ISFPs. Like you don't sense that in INFJs and ISFJs. Um, Another thing, the reason why they're so artistic um, is that INFJs actually have SI as a role function, and ISFJs have NI as a role function. So these two types could appear like each other. A role function is, the appearance of. So when you meet INFJs, they can make you feel very relaxed. They have a kind of a soothing effect on you. But it's not a function they ultimately value. Whereas when you look at ISFJs, they can have a lot of them have an intellectual quality to them. But the reason why is not because they strive for NI, but they're striving for SI. So SI is about homeostasis and like physical aesthetic, and you kind of have to have a degree of intellectual understanding in order to get to this physical aesthetic. ISFJs might want to cultivate their mind because it's part of like kind of physically exercising your mind. It's part of SI, Whereas INFJ artists, you can see a lot of the art is very detailed. It's not because of extrovert sensing. It's very introvert sensing. It's very meticulous. So a lot of INFJs are very meticulous with their work. So they have a vision, this is a value function, NI, it comes from the NI, and they want to be able to express it very well with all the detail. So that's why they use SI as a role. Whereas when you look at ISFJs, they might have like they might be like a Kandinsky, or they might be an impressionist painter, but they're very focused on the physical aspect of the painting, like how the painting makes you feel at a physical level. But they use NI abstraction in order to get there. So that's why impressionist paintings are a little bit abstracted. And also, like when you look at Kandinsky's work, I don't really know what his type is, but he reminds me of that quality that they have. Yeah, I want to say that I think it's a very so INFJs and ISFJs, they tend to have a kind of a negative kind of feeling about their demonstrative function. But I want to say that I'm very impressed by their ability to be able to express their internal emotional state very well. Yeah, it could kind of have a kind of negative quality. So when you look at INFJs, they kind of, I don't know, they have that kind of guilty look. Like they're always like carrying around this guilt. And ISFJs look like they're kind of grouchy. They're kind of like have this like hidden anger about them. So that's like, I don't know, it's like coming from their introvert feeling. So anyway, that's kind of all I want to talk about.